on these joints here. So, what is good for the culture family? We're starting a little bit later today, but we are still about to get active on the charts for this pre-market prep and what we're expecting for the session. So let me just send this out to the team and we will get started. Let me send this out. There we go. So our VIP and in the chat just in case, so that it gets sent everywhere. All right. So we're going to be taking a look here at the. All right, here we go. Let's get it. So now we're going to be taking a look here at gold. We're going to take a look at what we've seen happening yesterday for gold and then what we've seen happen today. And this is exactly what we expected on gold if it closed bullish, right? So if gold, in fact, closed bullish, which we did see it close bullish yesterday. And what happened yesterday, you can see we just had this rejection off of this lower time frame key area of resistance. You can see that coming into our session, the 4-hour time frame was, in fact, looking as if it was a bullish candle. The next 4-hour just continued and gold had a beautiful bullish run up. Now, what do we see happening today? Our current 4-hour candle appears to be bearish, but we have to dial down on the lower time frame to see what is happening, right? So we see this bullish move here. Can this hold, and will gold make a steeper move, or will we reject off of this area here? Right, so will we reject off of this key area? Well, to find out, we actually have to dial down to our lower time frame structure and identify some key areas of interest. So if we dial down, let's say to our 15-minute time frame here, we start to see what the 15-minute time frame structure is showing us. We have been creating higher highs and higher lows. Now, couple things to note here. As we're creating these higher highs and higher lows, price isn't as bullish as it was when it made this first impulsive move up. This is a sign of exhaustion. So what do I mean by exhaustion? Price is creating higher highs and higher lows, but it did it pretty slow in comparison to the impulsive move we've seen early on in the session when price began to flip and then start running bullish. Now, why do I say that? Well, because not only are we slowing up, but we just talked about how we're at that larger time frame area of resistance here. And then what do we see happen on the lower time frame? Our 15-minute time frame here is showing us that we had a high get created, we had a low, we had a higher high. This now becomes our key low. We had a lower low and then a higher high. This now becomes our key low. But then we break to the downside with an impulsive move following that larger time frame rejection and shifting now the lower time frame from now being higher highs and higher lows to now lower lows and lower highs. Where did we see this move happen yesterday during our VIP session? We seen this exact same thing happen with the NQ before we had this big dump to the downside. We had a high impulsive move to the upside, a high impulsive move to the upside. Price created a high, created a low, created a higher high. This became the key low. And I mentioned on our VIP session yesterday that if price breaks through this low, a flip and a possible steeper move to the downside could happen. Why? Because we had taken out an all-time high. And after you take out an all-time high, a correction is likely to form. So what do I mean by this in terms of gold, right? Well, that's why we see currently our 4-hour candle looks as if it can close bearish. If this 4-hour candle does close bearish and this lower time frame structure holds up and price does not break this, we have to see a break of this 33.39 area. If we don't see this 33.39 area get broken, I would anticipate a steeper move to the downside, likely filling the bottom wick of this current 4-hour candle. That's what I would anticipate, right? And you know, we have the signs there. We're at the larger time frame area of resistance. We have the signs of exhaustion, and then we have the lower time frame shift. All of these three things line up and kind of telling us what the direction is. So what do I be looking for in terms of a target? I definitely would want to see this low right here get broken at this 33.26 low. If we get this 33.26 low, this now confirms that price is still in a bearish market structure. This would be whatever the high is, would be our key high, and we would anticipate a steeper move to the downside, likely to potentially sweep all of these lows and potentially fill this. I mean, it can be, a pretty steep move to the downside here. Let's actually take a look at my FX book here, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have some news today, and we always need to take a look at what news events we have coming into the market so that we're prepared. Plus, if you trade funded accounts, you can't trade certain news events for certain, fundeds. So it's important to, always take a look at the news. We do this in the weekend. We always prep over the weekend. You can see we had continuing jobless claims at 8:30. I see. That's why we had that impulsive move, Joe, for
this morning.
Yeah, for the US 30 and stuff. So we'll talk about that as well here in a second, and what I mean and what I was talking to him, because we talked about it in to the team this morning of what I was expecting, especially coming in from yesterday, what I was expecting. So targets for today for gold, I definitely want to see this 33.26 level get broken, and then anticipate a potential steeper move to the downside until we get a lower time frame shift. Then price could potentially flip bullish, but all signs right now are pointing to a bearish market structure. We have the exhaustion, we have the rejection, and then the lower time frame shift. I would anticipate a 33.26 low get broken, and what would invalidate this is if we see the 33.39 level gets broken. If that gets broken, then price flips this structure from being bearish to now being bullish, and then you would just look for a possible continuation. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Not necessarily, especially if this 4-hour candle closes bearish. I'm telling you, if we see this 4-hour candle close bearish, we could see something similar of what we've seen here, where we see this steeper move to the downside. All I want to see is this 4-hour candle low get swept if it closes bearish, and that's likewise what we've seen here, and you can see what happened following these rejections, especially off of these key areas here of this move to the downside, right? So, but we got to keep an eye out for this possible move here, right? So price could close as a bearish candle, but we need the lower time frame to not invalidate it. And I don't know if this was even in our session, but I'm sure that on the lower time frame, price pushed down, and then it started to invalidate by creating higher highs and higher lows. It pushed up, and then it shifted the structure again, and then it continued kind of pushing down here. So we need the lower time frame structure to hold up in order for this to be a valid move. Otherwise, if we break the 33.39 level, look for a steeper move up for gold. Okay, so let me see. Let's see. Good morning. All right, so let's take a look here at what we see happening for the NQ. On the 4-hour time frame, the NQ is bullish. You can see we had this all-time high get created. Price did form a corrective structure to the downside, but the overall structure is bullish. How do we know that this was a corrective structure and not a full-on reversal? Well, because of the volume. We did have a ton of volume, but it only corrected 50% of, it corrected 100% of the volume, actually. But price continued to push bullish, and the larger time frame is in fact bullish. You can see how the previous daily candle closed, at or above this area, near this area, and we would anticipate a potential steeper bullish move for the daily. That is if in fact price remains in this bullish market structure. So the 4-hour time frame currently bullish. If we take a look at the 1-hour time frame, let's actually go down to our 15-minute. You can see a clear bullish market structure here. A very beautiful bullish market structure, might I add, because price had created a high. Price had created a high, created a low, created a higher high. Okay, if it breaks through this low, it's going down. All right, broke through this low, corrected. Okay, boom, broke through another low. This becomes the key high. Correction, broke through that low, this becomes the key high. If this high gets broken, you can expect a flip. Broke that high, broke both of these highs, corrected. Now it's in a bullish market structure, broke through this high, anticipating a correction, and a potential steeper move to the upside. Now, what would invalidate this steeper move to the upside? A break below this 30 or 23,012 level. So a break below 23,012, that's where we would invalidate a bearish market structure or a bullish market structure. But as of right now, I'm looking for a target of the 23,077 highs, looking for that steeper move to the upside. Very beautiful market structure here. In terms of price action on this 15-minute time frame for Nas. So what would be an indication to go long for Nas if you wanted to take this a step further? We need to come down to this lower time frame, our 5-minute and our 1-minute. We need our 1-minute here to flip from creating lower lows and lower highs in this corrective structure that we kind of got going on here. And it's not a very clean structure on this 1-minute. Let's take a look on a 5-minute. 5 minutes a little bit better, so you can kind of see, make out here we had a low, a high, a lower low. Price came out with the news, we got a liquidity grab. It swept the high, false breakout because it broke through the low, invalidating it, confirming that price was still bearish. So what we would need to see on our lower time frame is a lower time frame shift. So what I would want to see is a correction, a steeper move down, and then price to break through the high, and then we start to flip up. So that would be an indication that we can go ahead and get long for the NASDAQ. Another clue would be if we just have a ton of volume. So if we get a lot of bullish volume in the market, that's an indication that, hey, price is driving up and ready to go up. Volume is indicated by, I will wait for, this larger time frame confirmation. We do have some resistance at this area here. I think it's likely, since we have no bottom wick, that price forms that exactly what I was talking about. So bottom wicks are kind of cheat codes. Let me explain this right here. So this has no bottom wick. It's likely that price pushes down here to get this bottom wick. And what did I just say I wanted to see in terms of a structure? I wanted to see a lower low get created here on this 5-minute time frame here to now make this the key high, and then a shift. That'll give us the best risk to reward in terms of a trade. Now, I'm not saying price has to come here, but generally we see when we don't have this bottom wick that price goes back to get that. So keep that in mind, right? But a best indication would be some larger time frame rejection off of this area, especially if we get a bullish move. And if we break above this high, two possible things. We could either see a corrective structure form, and you could take a correction based trade, or this is going to retest, or it'll retest and keep continuing to push bullish. And how you would confirm it is just watch for that lower time frame structure. Price will create lower lows and lower highs, and then it'll have a shift, and then you can, get ready to go long based on the signal candle. All right, so let's take a look here at the YM here. So the YM, let's go to the daily time frame. Start with the daily. The YM on the daily time frame is currently bearish. We had a bullish move yesterday, but this is low-key looking like it's correcting this move here. Kind of a sideways market structure for, the YM on this 4-hour time frame here. You can kind of see we've been stuck within this range with no clear, super concise market direction. After we had that impulsive spike up yesterday, we were saying that we were going to look for a correction structure based trade. We actually looked for it on the NASDAQ. It was absolutely beautiful. But then, price is kind of ranging off here. You can see we're starting to get this push to the downside on this 1-hour candle. Let's go to our lower time frame structure. And so what we want to do is, the key is following the volume. So wherever our volume is in session, wanting that lower time frame structure wanting to execute in the direction of whatever our targets are based on that lower time frame confirmation is what I'm kind of trying to say. So as of right now, we have some bearish volume, though this market structure on 30-minute and the 15-minute remain in a bullish structure. Why? Because we had a high get created here. We had a low, we had a high, we had a low, and then we just pushed up all the way up here for this high, never forming any correction, and now we're at this key area of interest. I say that, the best place to look for a possible sell move is if we break through this 44.65 area. So if we break through 44,605, then I would look for a steeper move to the downside. As of right now, I would look for, a lower time frame shift, or wait for a lower time frame shift and then a steeper bullish move to the upside. Likely to, like I said, we've been very, very bullish bias on price breaking these all-time highs. We did have an impulsive move down and what appears to be a corrective structure. So keep in mind, we could see another impulsive leg to the downside here if price does not, or if price doesn't shift, right? Or if price shifts, goodness gracious. So if we don't see this continuation and breaks of these highs today, and we start to see price break through this low, especially if we have volume, we could potentially see another impulsive leg to the downside, meaning that the daily time frame is starting a steeper corrective structure, because we've just been bullish for the past like 3 weeks. What is this? June 18th. Yeah, so for the past like 3 or so weeks, we've just been extremely bullish. And as we're reaching these all-time highs here, price is beginning to slow up. But what do we know about this structure? We had an impulsive leg, and look how slow this move to the downside has been. Now, we could see a steeper corrective structure. I'm not saying that we can't, but I'm anticipating, it's not a matter of if these all-time highs get broken, it's a matter of when. So for today, just keep an eye out on this structure. Excuse me. Because it's kind of in this, it's just been on the 4-hour time frame in this sideways movement. Keep an eye out for how the 4-hour candle closes, and then when this 4-hour candle closes, dial down to the lower time frame and look at the structure. Targets for today in terms of areas of interest will be the 44.57, 570, and then these highs up here at the 44.829 levels. Those would be areas of interest that I would be looking for on the lower time frame, especially if we can get this bullish continuation. If we break above this high here, that confirms that price is still in a bullish market structure. You can see this is the area where we have that lower time frame shift would occur, because if we dial down to like our 5-15 minute is good enough. We had a high, a low, a higher high, a low get created, and then this high. If this area of interest holds, and then we see, especially like on our 1 minute time frame, we start to see a shift where price is creating, you can see it actually here. So like price created a low, we had a high, we had a low, high, low, broke through this high. Is this price shifting? No, it pushed down and broke through this low. Okay, price is bearish. We had a low, or a high, or a high, a low, a high, couldn't create a steeper low, so this remains our key high, and then it just broke through that. So this is a low indication of a lower time frame shift, and we know that we're at that larger time frame area of interest. This could be an indication that price goes ahead and targets up to these highs here, remaining in this potential bullish market structure to the 44.721 area. So in session, we just got to wait to see how it shakes out for 9:30, especially when the 4-hour candle closes. That's what we'll be really taking a look at there on what the market is doing. So as of right here, we're at an area of interest for the ES. You can see we're just testing these highs in this area. You can see this is a common area of resistance that we had in the market. So if we do see a lower time frame shift, a steeper move can come to the downside. But as of right now, we're in this overall 4-hour time frame is bullish. There is definitely resting liquidity above these highs. So I think that if we break above these highs, we will see some volume to start targeting these 6,033 levels. So what I would wait for is a possible breakout of this area, a correction, and then a continuation. Or on the 4-hour time frame, if we close bullish, just wait for the lower time frame structure to confirm that price is in a bullish market structure. I mean, we could be seeing this happening right now. So like right from this area, I'm pretty sure that we probably seen a lower time frame shift. Let's see, we do have a lower time frame shift. As price created a high, created a low, high, lower low, and then we get this shift here. But now we're starting to see some volume. So an indication that price will continue pushing down is if we break through this low here at this 6,300. Finally, a solid whole number level there. Overall, I'm bull biased on the markets, but we just have some indecision as we're testing these highs. We're kind of in between this structure. Same thing with the YM. So we just gotta have to be patient and wait for this, structure to kind of show itself here on the 4 hour time frame. Overall, I'm bullish bias, like I said. Anticipating another all-time high break at this 6,333 level. So I will catch you guys in the VIP. For those of you who are in the VIP, for those of you who aren't, I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last session of this week, so definitely join in. And for those of you in the VIP, we'll have a weekend breakdown session at 9:30 every weekend. I send out exactly recapping what happened in the previous week and what we can expect for the upcoming week as well. But you guys see that here. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. All right, that's over with.